right. Go ahead and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you are about to provide is true and accurate? Yes. Thank you. Mr. Jorde.
Thank you. Will you please state your name?
My name is Martin Maher.
And Mr. Maher, you are an owner of an entity called Maher Farms, Inc., is that right?
That is correct.
And that entity owns land in which county that's targeted for this proposed summit pipeline?
Page County, Southwest Iowa.
And sir, did you prepare and cause to be filed in this matter some pre-filed written questions and answers as well as exhibits?
Yes, I did.
And since that time in July, have you also caused to be filed hearing exhibits as well?
I have added quite a few exhibits.
All right. And if I were to walk you through all of the questions that you previously posed to yourself and answered in your pre-filed testimony, would the answers you would give here today be substantially similar?
Yes.
And do you have any corrections or updates to that testimony?
No.
With that, I would offer Landowner Exhibits 334 through 338, as well as 603 and 608. Are there objections? I'll object on the basis of foundation to 603 and 608. I simply don't know what they are. I can lay some foundation for those. If we could pull up 603, please. Yes. Thank you very much. And this, sir, is a series of, I believe, 6 pages of from some documentation that you didn't have available at the time of your pre-filed testimony that help show your proposed reroute more graphically, and then also some of the features of the land.
Correct.
All right, and is that the purpose of the rest of the pages of this exhibit 603?
I believe so. That's also the second reroute that I have potentially offered Summit.
Okay, all right, very, very good. You've done some more thought on that and wanted to depict it here graphically. Yes. Okay, and then if we could look at Exhibit 608, please. Very good. And sir, what generally was the point of you wanting to have these exhibits to be able to discuss?
That references the information that was presented to the boards of supervisors in Page County, and it has to do with the EMS ability to respond in case there would be a leak from this hazardous liquid pipeline. And it has to do with Shenandoah. That's why it's there. And it also shows the proximity to Shenandoah. And we have a board of supervisor in Page County who is referencing that and referencing the EMS issues that are pertinent to our situation.
Okay, and you obtained those after your July pre-filed testimony was
yes.
prepared? Okay. All right. With that, I would re-offer Exhibits 603 and 608.
Okay.
I'll withdraw the objection.
So, fair enough. Thank you. The board will admit and give the way to.
Thank you. And with that, I
Taylor. I represent the Sierra Club. And how long has this property been in your family? My grandfather purchased this in 1900. And he and my mother, my father, and myself have all lived on this farm at one time or another. Until my mother passed away in 2008. Since then, we have a relative that's living there. And how many acres do you have there? There are 332 contiguous acres in this location. It may be under Maher Farms Incorporated or my wife and I are trust, but it is all contiguous. Okay. And you go plant beans there? Yes, sir.
Can we bring up the KMC? Okay, so how many parcels are there? 3?
That is impacting 3 different parcels.
And in your written testimony, you said that your residence is less than 300 feet from the pipeline?
Yes.
Is that your residence on the south end of your property?
It's to the left, yes.
Okay.
And those grain bins to the right are less than 200 feet, according to the ruler that I measured with the maps that I had.
Okay.
So I'm sure this will be more accurate.
Okay, so let's try it and see.
Objection, Your Honor. Witness has already testified in his direct testimony as to the distance from the structures. This KMZ is in the record, so the exercise of measuring various things on either landowner's property or neighbor's property is unnecessary time spent in the hearing. Board staff is perfectly capable, as they've demonstrated several times, of measuring distances on the KMZ.
Mr. Taylor,
I'm cross-examining him to see if his testimony is correct. And he's admitted that this would be more accurate.
do you believe the variance of a few feet is relevant to your case?
Yes, I do, because the safety is an issue.
Okay. Proceed.
So can we have the staff measure? So the grain bins look like 273 feet. And then how about the house? $317. You were pretty close. Does that concern you that your house is that close to the pipeline?
Absolutely.
Why?
Objection.
State the objection.
It's addressed in the direct testimony. This is not a cross-examination question. It's just a repeat question of what's right here in the direct testimony. Looks like page 5.
Mr. Taylor.
I think that we can expand on what's in the written testimony to better explain and better present a full record. That's all I'm trying to do.
And if I may, Your Honor, that's exactly the opposite of cross-examination. Cross-examination is intended to challenge the testimony or to demonstrate bias or motive on the part of the witness, not to say, this is what it says in your direct testimony, tell me more about that. That's just more direct examination.
But if I didn't help prepare the written testimony, so I'm not the party who was presenting this witness. I am cross-examining. Right? It's not my witness.
The objection sustained. Please move on, Mr. Taylor.
Your 7.10 sub 2 pre-file testimony contains all statements that a witness intends to give under oath at the time of the hearing set forth in questions and answer form. If possible, each line should be separated and numbered by witness who has submitted preferred testimony takes the stand. The witness does not ordinarily repeat the written testimony or give new testimony instead. The witness is cross-examined by other parties concerning the statement already made in writing. Mr. Taylor, next question.
If the pipeline is constructed, does that impact any future plans you have for the property?
That pipeline, as it currently is situated there, is not feasible right now. And the reason being is that because of that pipeline, it has forced me to do landscape work. The landscape work includes terracing, tiling, preparing for it. It has forced me to do landscape work in anticipation of the IUB giving my land to Summit Carbon, because I will not be able to do with this property and improve it the way I want to if Summit Carbon is given the easement over my dead body to do this. And the reason I said that pipeline's not feasible, you see this line of trees right here?
Yes.
Currently, we have a driveway that comes along here. Crosses right there, goes back here. That's how we access this river bottom. It goes all the way up here, right to Montgomery County. Keep going, right up to there. It's a long ways when you're harvesting corn to get from here down to those grain bins. It takes 3 people with sizable equipment to haul away the corn, 1 6-row combine, when you're that far away. Consequently, now you can zero back in on this. Consequently, right here, where my hand is shaking, we've installed a new driveway to cross that creek. That driveway is going to end up right where that pipeline is. Now, when you put in a driveway or when you put in a dam across a creek, you have to anticipate high tide, as I call it, when we get more water than the tube underneath the driveway can handle. So you create a low spot on one side of the driveway, and that happens to be right here. And it runs around this side and goes into there. Now, I dare say no competent engineer is going to want to put that pipeline right through the middle of that new driveway. And I also would say that same engineer is not going to want to put a pipeline in that diversion area that we use for overflow, which is right next to that. Consequently, again, that's going to push the pipeline farther to the left over here. And at that point, it's within, left being west. Left being west. That's correct. It's going to put it within, as near as I can tell, 50 feet of our well, which is, I can't tell from the map where it's at on there. one standing in the lowest part of that diversion area, sitting up on the driveway. You can see there's quite a difference in elevation. Now, I maintain that, like I said, you're not going to want to put a pipeline through the driveway, and you're not going to want to put a pipeline in this overflow area because it's quite subject to erosion. So consequently, you're going to want to move that. Put up the next picture, please. You're going to want to move that to the west or to the left of that pickup. That shows the well. And this little area in here, I assume, is where they would want to locate that if they go that way. And that would be, give or take, 50 foot from the well, as near as I can tell. And that is dangerously close. Should there be a rupture anywhere in the area, that CO2 is going to go into the well. It's going to ruin that well. And as we all know, compressed CO2 and water, carbonic acid. Now, to replace the well, going to the well that I've talked to the plumber, I'm talking a minimum 20 feet, which there's no compensation in this easement for that. Out of my pocket. So that is a change to that pipeline as it exists there. The KMZ when we started.
And it's your understanding that if the pipeline is constructed where someone proposes, you would have to go into the driveway?
Yes, it has to go through that area, somewhere between that pickup and that well. I can't imagine they would run it anywhere else.
Let's go back to the KMC. And the driveway would be somewhere in the area where that wooded area is.
It's right on the left side or west side of that area. It comes right across here.
Okay. It looks like there are some terraces.
There are terraces.
And what would the impact of those be if the pipeline is constructed?
Action, Your Honor. Asked and answered, direct testimony, bottom of page 5, top shape, page 6.
I'll move on. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Appreciate it.
You know, Exhibit 603, I think you said at the very beginning,
shows some proposed reroutes. Yes, is that correct? Can we put up the first page of 603? So, can you explain what this reroute is? That's my second proposed reroute to Summit Carbon. Well, they confused the first one. So, instead of going diagonally sort of across your property, you were suggesting going down the east edge? I'm suggesting going straight through my property. It's going to cut a tile line right here. It's going to cut another one on this side. But that's the beginning end of the tile line. So if it should happen to collapse after they go through, it would cause the least amount of damage. Now it's also going to cut through terraces, which, well, you can kind of see there's a terrace here, but there's another one there, there's one here, there's another one there, there's terrace here, terrace there, terrace there, terrace there, terrace there. It's going to cut through all those terraces, and I don't like it at all. But that is a less objectionable route than the current proposal. The current proposal is absolutely non-agreeable to me
because of the proximity to the house and the proximity to the grain bins, because those grain bins are where my family is around in the fall, and that house, and eventually, either I or my grandchildren will be living there. We've got, if you get in the second set of pictures, bring up a picture of my family. None of my family lives on the farms. However, they're all actively involved. It's not with that set of pictures. You've got another set of attachments there. I don't know the number of it.
But then maybe 608, let's take a look at that. While they're doing that, what was your first reroute proposal?
My first reroute proposal was to go east from approximately where they were going to enter my property. On my property, go east along the road and then north along the road on the east side of the property, still on my land. It would not have interfered with any of the tile lines. It would have cut the ends of a number of terraces, but that was the least amount of damage. And as it went north a mile, it would connect in fairly close to where they're going to be at with their current proposal. It would be on another neighbor's farm, but it would be fairly close. So it's not like I'm asking them to go a mile east and a mile north and a mile back west. And you can look at the cams that you had up there, and if you saw the almost 90, not quite, but almost 90-degree turns that they made to get to the shut-off station, or the valve they put on the south side of the road, they could very easily go around my property like I suggested to start with 145-degree angle. They would have less angles, which their engineers tell me causes lots of problems. They have to increase the pressure, and as we know, it also increases the wear on the elbows or the junctions that they put in. So they would actually be to their benefit, function-wise, if they would have followed the route I suggested to start with. But they chose not to. But that was before I really understood that this was supercritical CO2 and that the damage this pipeline would do. And once I understood that, there's no way I will ever agree to that pipeline in the location that it's at. I've been offered a lot of money. I don't care if I get a dime. It's not going to be fair.
Let's put 608 up again. Okay, you were talking about that. What was your...
Well, somewhere there's a picture of my family in one of these exhibits. And the only reason I put that in was because that family is out there every harvest. And that in that current position where that tile line is at, that family is exposed anytime there would happen to be a release in that area. We have my daughters, my son-in-law, my daughter-in-law, and my oldest grandchild. They're all driving tractors, driving the combine. Yeah. Excuse me. Go ahead and take a minute, Mr. Maher.
We have one or two grandchildren.
The combine and every tractor, even down to our 6-month His mother was holding corn in. His mother was holding corn in. Our son was running the combine. So you strap the car seat and the buddy seat in the tractor. Strap the 6 or 8 month old, whatever he was, in there, and he is having the time of his life. But I'm saying, if there's a release in any of that area, you're going to put my whole family, or whoever happens to be in that vehicle, tractor, combine, you're going to put them in danger. They're very likely losing their life. Now, some people seem to think this is a big benefit to me. I can't see a benefit in that respect. And I've got other areas too about that, but I don't want my family at risk in case this pipeline would happen to have a release in that area. And I hope you understand why I'm so adamant about not having it in that location. It can be moved. Until that pipe's in the ground, that can be moved. It can be moved to the first option that I had. It could be moved to the second option, which is not something I want, but I will put up with it so that I get a better setup of less danger to my family. Go ahead.
You feel like you have no choice?
Oh, I have no choice. You know, what this feels like, it feels like my head's on a guillotine, and the summit, or not the summit, excuse me, the IUB is holding the rope. And anytime they can just go on the rope and chop my head off. That's how this feels. Because, oh, well, eminent domain, that's been the conversations that showed up when the land agents came out. Now, we can talk about the land agents. The first land agent, JR, was very professional. He's the one I explained the first route to, and came back and said, no, they weren't going to do that. Then they weren't going to do the cow pasture, which is pasture now, which I tend to have terrorist entitlement. Yet this fall. JR met me twice. The next land agent wasn't sure what state he was in. Couldn't find my farm and was over 2 hours late to an appointment. He only showed it once. The next land agent was a lady. I can't remember her name. Very pleasant lady. Professional. She did her job. Had a good conversation. And I told her there's not enough money in this. Because Page County, because there's some land in certain parts of the county that is not as productive as the section that we're in. Page County has a lower average CSR rating, suitability rating. So consequently, Page County pays, according to their maps, the least amount of money per acre for this pipeline of any county in the state of Iowa. And I told the agent, hey, my land abuts Montgomery County. They're paying more for Montgomery County than they are for me. I said, I'm not going to accept that. So, there were several phone calls and texts, and she wanted to know, how much money do you want? How much money do you want? And I was in the process. I had a relative that I had looked after that had passed away. I was busy farming, trying to get a household sale for her farm, trying to get a machinery sale for her farm. And I was occupied, and the phone calls and the text got to be a nuisance. So I told her, I said, look, I want $2 million. $2 million, you can put your pipe there, I don't care. Now, that seems rather outlandish. Apparently she thought so too. Nevertheless, she showed up at my farm and set an appointment with her and Mr. Grant Terry, who's an engineer for Summit Carpet, and another fellow by the name of Isaac Rousseau. Rousseau. I don't really say that, I'm not sure. And we had a conversation out by those two grain pits. And the lady, the land agent, she says, would you be satisfied with $100,000? I said, no. And Mr. Terry, after a short conversation, got a little bit upset with me and said, well, how about $200,000? I said, no, I don't want that. I told you what I want. And the reason I want it, I've got plenty of justification for it. His answer to me was, well, that's where the pipeline's going to be. It's not going to change. Which implies that he expects the IUB to eminent domain me, and that they can take that property real cheap. Well, that might be the case. But I'm not going to go with them knowing. Now, if you bring up the statement from McIntyre Realty, I know where it's at on my list, but it doesn't seem to be, I don't know, there's a coordination issue here of some sort. Can you find that, Mr. Jorde? There you go. I asked a realtor, what happens to the value of my land to that acreage if this pipeline goes through? And as you can see in the second paragraph, I believe the pipeline going by the house at 300 feet and so close to the oil well, it will hurt your property. The desirability of the acreage, if it were to be sold, will be diminished. She goes into the house. It's a 2-story house, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and well-maintained, a white oak trim around it, new windows and doors, a modern kitchen, and new foundation, and modern bathroom, and such, 2-car detached garage. New roof, double windows. The assessed value of the house at 5 acres is $95,000. I believe the value of the house without the pipeline is $120,000. I believe the pipeline will hurt it by 50%. So there's $60,000 in value that the pipeline is going to steal from you. In the last paragraph, I believe the rest of the land is worth $9,500 an acre without the pipeline. I believe the value of the land by which the pipeline will be diminished is 25%. If you do a little rough calculations, 332 contiguous acres times 9,500, and you find 25% of that, you will come up with $788,000. That's $750,000 that they will devalue that land. Add in the $60,000 from the devaluation of the house, and you're close to $850,000. And you add in close to $100,000 that this tiling and terracing is costing me, because I cannot get any cost share help on that. The reason being, in Page County, they have a lot of applicants. If I wanted state money in Page County, I have to wait 7 years to get a line to get it. There should be EQIP money, but the EQIP money seems to be, at least this year, the EQIP money was allocated to to pasture renovation and building dams or structures. Now, the surprising thing to me is this property joins the Walnut Creek, which is a highly desirable, undesirable is not the word for it, it's a highly impacted water stream. It's supposed to have, it's a priority water stream, excuse me, that's the right word for it. It's a priority water stream. Part of the property joins that creek that we run through there that has the crossing on it that I was referring to, less than a quarter of a mile away, that empties right into the Walnut Creek. Now, I would assume that that would be grounds for perhaps helping me, but they're not. So, we're getting up to, if you tally all this up, we're getting up to $950,000 in financial impact this pipeline is having on my property. And for anybody to say that this is a benefit to me, they are crazy.
Based on your experience farming that land, do you believe the pipeline would have an impact on the soil and the fertility
facility and the crop production. There is no
Objection, Your Honor.
State the objection.
It's in the direct testimony. This is repetitive, starting at the bottom of page 5 now for the damage to the soil.
Mr. Taylor.
I'm just trying to fill out the record. I have other information that what's in there.
Fill out the record. It's not proper examination. It's also, frankly, not Mr. Taylor's role in this proceeding to help fill out the record. This is Mr. Jorde's client. If that information needed to be put into the testimony, it certainly could have. And frankly, it is at the citation I just provided.
This is well tread ground. Sustain the objection. We'll take a 15-minute break. Maybe everybody can take a breath. Maybe the attorneys can get together and iron this out.